Is the button going to go? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room, episode 202. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mistress Kerry. Hold on. I was sending out a tweet to remind everybody to make sure they come in the War Room because for some reason, I was having a hard time setting up the War Room ahead of time so that it would remind you guys on Facebook. And I don't know why it wouldn't work, but it wouldn't. So tweet sent. What's going on? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I'm your host, Mistress Kerry. Welcome to the War Room. This is the room in my house where I have all of my military memorabilia. It's where all of my family's military memorabilia is. And, it's also where the bar is, which is why we've been riding out the pandemic together since March 14th of 2020. That was the first episode, and we did 80 nights in a row trying to figure out the uncertainty of COVID-19, what the hell we were going to do. And then once we launched the Mistress Kerry podcast in June of 2020, we made Cocktails in the War Room a weekly show, and it's when we get together Tuesday nights, 8:30 Eastern, to hang out and find out what's going on. Mark says Facebook was a hot mess today. Elsa says, hello, Wednesday. Yeah, come here, Wednesday. Do you want to say hi to everyone? Say hi to everyone. Okay. Do you want to just sit over here and I'll turn your camera on instead? Is that what you would rather have? Yeah, I didn't have a lot of problems with Facebook today, but I definitely had a lot of problems trying to schedule the War Room earlier today, and I don't know why. So for anybody that's new to the War Room, first of all, welcome. Second of all, everybody that gets together in the War Room considers themselves the War Room family. So you got to let us know in the comments if this is your first time in the War Room. And you got to let us know where you're watching from so we can properly welcome you. And if you are new, this is my co-host, Wednesday, the one that's yelping right now, that's wiggling her tail and begging for cookies. Get down. The most spoiled pug in all of rock and roll. Get down. Get down. Good girl. I bribe her with cookies to come in and co-host the show with me because, well, riding out the pandemic. What's up, Dave? Riding out the pandemic by yourself is a little rough. Doing it with a pug is a lot easier. However, doing it with a pug that just is like that and just wants cookies, she's basically a spoiled brat. And you guys here in the War Room have not helped this cause because over the course of the last 2.5 years, you guys have sent her more toys, as you can see, and more treats. And now on Tuesdays, she expects it. So this is your fault. I'm not taking... what's up, Jilly? Thank you for joining us from New Hampshire. What's going on? William says, what's all y'all in Barnhart, Texas, Pennsylvania area, says Linda. My son Ralph is here tonight. First timer, says Betty. What's up, Ralph? So to anybody that's new to the War Room, basically what we do is we get together. There's a lot of inside jokes when it comes to Cocktails in the War Room. And that's why if you go to mistresskerry.com, if you're watching on your computer, open up another browser window, go to mistresskerry.com. The very first blog post I ever put up is called The Dictionary. Spelled the way you would expect it. And that is the glossary of all of the Cocktails in the War Room, inside jokes and terms so that anybody that's new to the War Room, hey, you can catch up because we don't want to leave you out with some of the inside jokes and some of the references because there have been 202 episodes. So if you look up the dictionary in the blog at mistresskerry.com, you'll notice some of the terms that are going to get referenced, maybe not by me during the show, but definitely in the comments. Welcome to all the newbies, says Ash. What's up, Eric? Jonathan's here. Shannon is here. Already starting with the unbirthdays for Keith. I ain't seen you since WAF, says Chris. Well, Chris, we get together every Tuesday night here on my Facebook page. All the old episodes are archived on my YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to, and they are also up at mistresskerry.com, which is where you can find everything. So if you haven't seen me since WAF and you're just tuning into the War Room, I apologize to the War Room family that joins me every week, but we're always welcoming new people, and so I got to catch them up. Go to mistresskerry.com if you haven't seen me since AAF was gone, because I've been doing a lot. The podcast is up there. The calendar is up there that has all the concerts around New England. The blog is up there. You can get details on cocktails in the War Room. The online Mistress Kerry store is there. The t-shirts, the hoodies, the beanies, the stuff for your office, the coffee mugs, the pint glasses. It's all up at mistresskerry.com. And there is also a button that lets you message the studio. And by studio, I mean MCHQ, so that you can send me direct messages straight through the website. So there's a lot going on the website. Watching from Chicago, says Eric, this place has everything. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Voorhees. You're not new. War Room OG from Woobin, wearing my War Room shirt tonight. Yeah, if you're new to the War Room, there's actually cocktails in the War Room t-shirts and hoodies that you can get on the website. So Shannon says, saw you at Shinedown. I apologize to everybody at Shinedown last week. I don't want to get into it again, but the show was super crazy and very hectic. And so if I ran by you at the Shinedown show and didn't have the time to stop and say hi, there was a lot going on and I was very pressed for time. Elsa says, bag of dicks. Please mention this. The storm, the Hurricane Ian, is about to hit Sarasota, Florida, the area south of Tampa. Yeah, there's a lot going on when it comes to Hurricane Ian. One of the first things you'll notice, and I did want to talk about it tonight, is if you go to the main Facebook page where you're watching this right now, unless you're watching it after the fact on YouTube, there is a National Weather Service checklist. Anytime there is a major weather event, even if you are unaffected by it, even if you live in a part of the country that does not get hurricanes, if you're in the Northeast where the weather has been beautiful, you could be in Vegas, where I am headed later on this week, where they're still in the middle of a heat wave and it's like 97 degrees today. Wherever you're watching and joining us from the War Room, it doesn't matter where you live. There is some kind of unpredictable weather event that is possible where you are. Torrential downpours, droughts, mudslides, fires, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards. It doesn't really matter. Preparedness, we talk about it a lot here in the War Room, is super important. And a lot of the things to prepare are pretty much the same. Some things change, hot weather to cold weather. Some things change based on whether or not you're going to need to evacuate if you're in a flood zone or by the ocean versus if you're in the mountains and maybe, you're needing to hunker down. There's a certain amount of preparedness that we can all do and all get a little better at. And so I put that checklist up on the Facebook page so that not only could we talk about it tonight, but it's just something that sits in the back of your mind, because this hurricane, at first they were like, oh, maybe it'll be a Category 2 when it hits Florida. And then it started to strengthen as it hit the warm weather and the warm air in the Gulf. And it's getting stronger and stronger. And now it looks like the west coast of Florida could get pretty hammered by Ian. And some people could get caught on the back foot and not be prepared. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys were just keeping it top of mind. Some things like having an extra prescription or two filled if you're on any kind of maintenance medication. If your pets or your kids or anyone else that's a dependent that lives in your house is on maintenance medication. Having a way to store clean water either in your home, making sure once you get into storm season that you always keep your gas tank full, or maybe you've got a gas tank or two that you can keep full in your garage, making sure that you've got just some extra food, that you've got cash in the house, that you've got a micro like a drive of some kind that has got scans of all of your important documents, that you've got updated photos taken of your house, that you've got copies of your insurance policies, just these kinds of things that you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll get to that someday. And if you're watching what's happening with Hurricane Ian right now and you're not in the storm's path, take this opportunity while the storm's not hitting you to get prepared. Because if you're in the Northeast or just the northern part of the United States, winter's coming. And that also means the rainy season for the Southwest, and that could bring mudslides, sinkholes. There has been a drought in a lot of parts of the United States, and so the ground is so dry that if you were to get a torrential downpour right now, the ground's not going to be able to absorb it as quickly, which means flooding and mudslides. As we get into fall and the leaves start coming down, it starts to clog drainage and there's flooding. There's just a lot that could happen. So I wanted to put that checklist up for you. So check it out. Definitely do a little bit more research when it comes to your geographic location and what kind of emergency situations Mother Nature could throw you in. And just take a little while to just get prepared. A lot of people in the Northeast have family in Florida. There are a lot of snowbirds that were preparing to go down there. There's a lot of people that just moved down there to go to college. There's people that are down there on vacation. And now all of a sudden they are hunting for a place to seek refuge. The highways are packed. Flights, events are getting canceled. People are evacuating like crazy. And so obviously sending our love to anybody that made the decision to hunker down, and to anybody that's got family that's in the storm's path. Obviously, that's one of the things that we do the best here in the War Room is support each other when we have these kinds of emergencies happen. So let's see. Mandatory outdoor water ban in Lynn, says Tracy. Yeah, Lynn, Massachusetts is having a water ban right now, and the weather has been fine. So just having an idea about how you're going to react to some of these emergency situations is a good thing. Yeah, everybody's talking about the vodka. What's up, Keith? Stockpiling vodka. There's a bunch of things you can do. You can get drunk with it, obviously. You can trade for it with people that have other things that you need. You can disinfect things, surfaces, wounds. And you can also, if it's got a high enough alcohol content, use it to start fires if you need it, to put in a lamp, to just start some kind of a fire, whatever it is. So yeah, vodka is a really good thing to stockpile, but food, clean water, shelter, heat, a way to cool yourself down, a way to keep food cold if you are in a place that's too hot and you lose electricity. A lot of tips about keeping places cool are good things to know if you lose electricity. Remember a few years ago when they had the super freezing cold temperatures in Texas, a lot of people in the Northeast were teaching people tricks in Texas about how to do different things to keep rooms of their house warm. So there's always tips, but it's just something that bears repeating as we all get into different times of the year where we could have emergencies. So your punishment for being late is mandatory pants tonight, says Donna. That's an inside joke for Keith, because we always joke that maybe pants aren't required. Not only here in the War Room, I may not be wearing pants right now because you can't see, but also so many people that have been working from home, pants have become questionable if you're working from home. So wanted to show you guys this. You guys see these giant bruises on my biceps? It's part of the reason why I wore a tank top tonight, so you guys could see them. So a friend of mine is moving out of a corporate, her company is moving out of like a little bit too big of office space and downsizing the way that a lot of people are, because so many people are working from home now. And so she hit me up and she was like, I know you've been doing a lot of reorganization in MCHQ, reorganizing a lot of your merch, getting ready for the holidays. And she had a bunch of shelving units and big filing cabinets and stuff, and said, hey, would you like some? And I was like, yes, absolutely. So they dropped them off. They threw the stuff in my garage, and I was like, all right, let me move some stuff around. And I had this big, giant, double wide, 6 foot tall filing cabinet that she gave me that's amazing and really heavy. And I wanted to move it down by MCHQ so that I can start storing and really organizing some things. And I thought, rather than bring it through the house on a dolly and try and navigate the stairs and probably chip the drywall and have it fall on me and kill me in the stairs or fall on the dog, I decided to take it around the house from the outside on the 2-wheel dolly that I have. And so that was a really good life choice until I got to the part of the yard that had gotten soft because of all the rain that we had over some of these crazy thunderstorms we got over the last few days. And the 2-wheel dolly sunk into the mud. I lost my balance and ended up catching this giant filing cabinet because I knew that if it fell down into the yard that I wouldn't be able to tip it back up again and it would be stuck out there until I could get somebody over here to help me. And so I caught it on my arms and my biceps, and I have these horrible bruises, and it looks like I got into a fight. May have won, may have lost, I don't really know, but they're very sore. And so I went to physical therapy today. If you're new to the war room, I've been in physical therapy for my shoulder for a bunch of months now. And the physical therapist was like, are you taking your home exercises a little bit too far? So if you're wondering why it is that I have these giant bruises on my arms, that's why. So remember how bad we lost power last October for a day and a half? Yeah, I mean, since I moved into my house, I lose power probably 4 to 6 times a year. Sometimes it's for 20 minutes. Sometimes it's for hours. I had 2 instances, once in the winter, once in the summer, where I lost power for 5 days. And so you've got to have a plan for that. Yeah, ouch, everybody says. Yeah, exactly. You should see the other guy, says Bish. That's when you see the old, you should see the other guy. Exactly, Ryan. Yeah, so I wanted to brag about my bruises. But yeah, we lose power quite often, and, staying warm, staying cold, you just got to have a plan as far as, how you're going to cope with it. And so obviously, Ian is giving all of us a reason to kind of, rehash our emergency protocols and how we're going to handle that stuff. Fight with a filing cabinet, says Jacqueline. Yeah, exactly. Linda says Sully Erna would be upset with you doing this by yourself. Well, Sully can reprimand me later on this week because I'm actually going to see him in the next few days. So before I tell you about the Vegas trip that I have coming, if you're new to the War Room, we have a bunch of things that we do every week. One thing that we do every week is speaking of vodka, is I bring up a different cocktail recipe every week. I have a bunch of bartender books here in the War Room in the bar. And throughout the lockdown, every time we get together in the War Room, it originally started because I didn't know if the liquor stores were going to be open. And so, I was worried that maybe we were going to have to start drinking the bottles of booze in the back of the cabinet that people give you for Christmas gifts that you don't really like or you don't know what to do with. And so I started digging around through all of these cocktail recipes to see if I could find some recipes that we could experiment with. I believe we made a pickle teeny in the height of the pandemic, a pickle juice martini, which it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. But so every week we go over a cocktail recipe. This week, by the way, I changed up the bartender book this week. This is the International's Bartender Guide, over 1,200 cocktail, martini and non-alcoholic drink recipes. Only every once in a while do we do the non-alcoholic drinks. That's when we call it mocktails in the War Room, and we call it Temple Tuesday. So if we have a guest here in the War Room that is sober, we want to encourage that sobriety, and so we declare a mocktails in the War Room, and we don't drink that week. This is not one of those times. Now, you may or may not be aware that Saturday is my birthday. It's kind of a big birthday. So this week for the cocktail, I picked something that is made for parties. It's a punch that you can serve a bunch of people. So if you've got a birthday coming up, maybe you're getting ready to have a Halloween party, maybe you're getting ready for the holidays. This is called the Cajun Mimosa Punch. And it's a variation on the mimosa cocktail that you and your guests, if you're having a party, do know what it's like. But this is what they're calling the perfect prelude if you're doing a Cajun meal. So if you're trying to put a little spice in your life, this is a quart of orange juice, 6 bottled jalapeno peppers drained, 2 bottles of chilled champagne or other sparkling wine, and the goat of all ices, crushed ice. So according to the drink recipe, you're going to put the orange juice in a quart bottle with a tight-fitting lid. You're going to drain the peppers thoroughly and pat them dry, slice them into rounds, and add the jalapenos to the orange juice. When you're ready to serve, I'm assuming they want you to let the juice sit for a while and kind of soak up all of the pepper flavors. You are going to strain the juice, discard the peppers unless you want to garnish with it. And garnishing drinks is a big thing here in the War Room. You're going to fill highball glasses, half full of crushed ice, then fill half with the orange juice and top it off with the cold champagne. This says it makes 8 8-ounce drinks with a little extra champagne to freshen the glasses as well. And we are always looking for ways to garnish drinks. So obviously, if this is a Cajun thing with jalapeno juice in the orange juice, you got to line the rim with something, I thought, some kind of Cajun spice or sugar or salt mixture on the rim. I also thought you could leave the jalapeno circles in there and float them on the top. Obviously, an orange wedge would be good. Maybe a little sriracha drizzled on the top. I mean, if you're really going to go. Jacqueline says, this sounds awesome. Definitely need antacids. Maybe you could serve this drink with an antacid on a cocktail napkin, and that could be part of the garnish. This is way too many steps. It's not too many steps. Put the peppers in the orange juice. Sit. Pour the orange juice on the ice. Add champagne. That's not too many steps. You can handle this. Rim it with crab boil spice. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's that kind of stuff. You are applying yourself, Tracy. Old Bay on the rim, says Eric. Trina says sugar, salt, and a bit of chili pepper. Let's see. I put jalapenos in my Guinness. It's so good. What? Hey, Brendan. So, guys, Brendan is a transplanted New Englander. Back in the old days, he was the DJ up at 10's in Salisbury Beach, and we spent a lot of quality time together. Brendan, we were just talking about Sully because I'm going to see him in the next few days. Brendan is in the path of the storm down in Florida right now. And so, Brendan, obviously, you know I love you. Please stay safe. He says, hurricane down here. I want to come home. Miss you. So come home. Get in the car. Drive. Get the hell out of there if you can. And if you're going to hunker down, please be careful, Brendan. Too much rim job talk, says Mark. Sacrilege, says Tracy. Everybody's telling Brendan to be safe. Shut it down, says Eric. Stay safe, Brendan, says Carol. So that is the drink recipe. And there's a bunch of different things that you could do. Because this is kind of a Cajun thing and you're talking about like crab boil, you could even put like a crab leg in there. I mean, if you're going to garnish this thing, garnish it. Maybe you could put some kind of a bacon wrapped sour cream or cheddar cheese stuffed jalapeno that you throw in the air fryer. Do that and then stick it on a skewer and put that in there as a garnish. There's a lot of different things that you can garnish this with. But I thought it was a pretty good idea to do a punch because the birthday is coming up. And because of that, I actually decided to do a little bubbly because the big birthday is coming up on Saturday. So I chose to have a little giggle juice here in the War Room. So Brendan, be safe. We're all thinking about you. And cheers. Hold on, let me turn Wednesday's pug cam back on because she's sitting so nicely here in the War Room. Just Wednesday's got her cocktail too. Right, Wednesday? The collection of Halloween toys is growing, seriously. Are you being a good girl? Yes, you are. You're being very good. She's been following me around a lot. I actually let her come down and sit in MCHQ for a little while. She sat on the couch and watched me work for a little while I was putting the show together today. So let's see. The year of the 50s. Wait, what are you guys talking about? The new Windy City. Okay, I must have missed some kind of a reference. All right, so that is your cocktail recipe. Want to fill you guys in because I told you I was headed to Vegas. And so I wanted to fill you guys in on what I'm going to be doing in Vegas because there's a lot going on while I'm there. One of the things I'm going to be doing is going to a listening party. Look at Wednesday sitting back there. She knows I turned the podcast off, so she just wants to, do you want to be on the show? You're just going to sit in the background? Yeah. So I'm going to get an advance chance to hear the brand new Godsmack album. Now, there's new Godsmack coming out tomorrow, the new song Surrender. They have a new album coming out, and they're actually having a listening party in Vegas. So not only am I going to be able to come home and give you guys a little bit of advanced word on what the new Godsmack record sounds like, but Godsmack is actually playing at the Dollar Loan Center in Vegas on Friday night. And that is how I'm officially kicking off my birthday because my birthday's on Saturday. So Friday night, when it hits midnight, it's officially my birthday. I have already been texting with Sully and was like, hey, I'm reminding you because when I saw him in Boston a few weeks ago, I was like, don't forget, I'm going to see you in Vegas and it's my birthday. I texted him and he was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Hold on. I want to send a picture because I want you guys to see this picture. I totally meant to put this in the war room because I wanted you guys to see it and I forgot. And so I want to put it up on the screen. Here it is. I'm going to send it. Oh my God, this picture is so old school. It's insane. So are you sending? The fuck? So that's part of what's going on. I'm also going to see Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. I'm going to see him this week. And basically there are I'm going to see Beartooth. There are a bunch of shows, a bunch of listening parties, and a lot of music that I'm going to check out while I'm in Vegas. All right, hold on. I got this picture ready. So back in the old AAF days, Brendan, you'll probably remember this. My first birthday on the air, which was October 1st, 1998. This was in the old WAF studios in Westboro. I had been on the air for about 6 months. I don't even know if I had signed my first contract yet, so I don't even know if I knew the job was officially mine. And Godsmack was just, if they hadn't signed it already, they were just getting ready to sign their first record deal, and they were just the biggest local band around. And I got a call from the door downstairs, and so I pick up on the loudspeaker in the building, and I was like, hello, and it was Sully, and he was like, we're downstairs. Sully and all the guys and all of his friends showed up. Johnny Hollywood, who's joined us here in the War Room before from the band Pistachio that I'm going to have on the podcast before the end of the year. He was with them and they showed up at the radio station while I was on the air on my birthday. They took over the radio station. They got me drunk while I was on the air. They had gone to CVS and like bought out like the whole women's aisle. And they started sticking like maxi pads for some reason all over the walls. They stuck one on my forehead while I was on the air. They were taping them to my headphones. And I got in so much trouble the next day because the floors were soaked with beer. There was a hole in the drywall. It was insane. But the night of that birthday, I took this picture with Sully. Hold on. Why won't it? There it is. Look at this picture. That is Sully and I on October 1st, 1998 in the old WAF studio. And yes, I was drunk. I literally look like I'm being held captive. Like I should be sending like some kind of weird hand gesture or something, asking for help. But I think you can see me holding on to a bottle of something in my left hand. I don't know exactly what I was holding on to, but so the fact that all these years later, like literally 24 years later, I'm going to spend my birthday. Yeah, exactly. We were babies. The fact that I'm going to spend the night before my birthday with Sully again, 24 years later is freaking, no. Somebody else said this too. Oh my God, no purple hair. My hair was purple. It's just that this is a Polaroid. It's a digital scan of a Polaroid. And you can't tell because of the lighting, the way that the old AAF studio was. My hair was purple. It wasn't as bright purple as it is now. What did you do to make your hair not purple? Brown hair dye? It was purple. You just can't tell. But yeah, we were babies. Oh, no. Oh. So there you go. That was the picture I wanted to share with you guys. So it's pretty awesome that all these years later, we're still friends and we're going to be together at least the night before my birthday because I believe the band is leaving for Europe after that show. So cameras were crap back then. Yeah, it was a fucking Polaroid. I used to I had a filing cabinet in the old AAF studio because I didn't have my own office. And it locked so I could keep my headphones and kind of all of my stuff locked in the filing cabinet. I still have that filing cabinet, by the way. I still use it. It's plastered with old bumper stickers. And one of the things I kept in that filing cabinet, because you never knew when someone was going to show up, like the birthday party, is I kept a Polaroid in that filing cabinet with film so that if anybody showed up at the radio station unexpectedly, I could get pictures. And so that is one of those nights that I had to use the Polaroid camera because he looks like Elvis, Lou says. Explain Polaroid to all the young people, says Fred. But they know what Polaroids are. They've come back. You can get them. They're the little instant cameras that spit out the Andre 3000. Shake it like a Polaroid picture. Shake it. That's what you did. You got the Polaroid picture. It got spit out the front of the camera. And then you had to wait and watch it develop. And people thought shaking it made it develop faster, although scientifically they proved that was not the case. Donna says, I was 25 back then. Yeah, so was I, Donna. So was I, which is just insane. I think I have an old 110 camera kicking around, says Dave. Yeah, exactly. The stripper story, says Donna. Yeah, we're not getting into the stripper story tonight. I got too much other stuff to tell you guys about. So this is some of what's going to happen on my Vegas trip. Now, there is good news. My husband's actually flying out to meet me in Vegas so he can spend my birthday with me. And he's got some stuff planned later on in the week and over the weekend. And so I don't know what the rest of my week is going to look like, but this is some of it. PJ says, MC, did you see the lineup for Louder Than Life, the concert in Louisville this past weekend? So many freaking good bands, 4 days, 5 stages. I think it would have been hard to choose what stages to hit up. Yeah, Amy Lee jumped on stage with Tenacious D after Evanescence got off stage. And then she said all the bands went out to the house mix to watch Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails just did this huge show at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and reunited with all their former band members and then played a show in Ohio. And they invited all of the old band members to come up, including Richard Patrick from Filter, and Nine Inch Nails, including Trent Reznor, covered Hey Man, Nice Shot, which is pretty crazy. So is anybody else not seeing everyone's posts, says Jonathan. Can you guys not see each other's comments? That's weird. You should be able to. All right. So yeah, Louder Than Life is a festival I would love to go to. Aftershock, another one. Incarceration. There's so many amazing festivals in the United States. Before we had like Lollapalooza and like Ozfest and they were touring. And now just like a lot of those big European and South American festivals, the United States is really starting to generate its own festival culture, which is really cool. So, Louder Than Life is definitely a festival that's on my list to go and see. All right, we got to talk about the podcast. I saw some people commenting about my guest from episode 120, Doug Pinnick from King's X. I told you guys last week when I announced who my guest was going to be that you guys were going to love this episode, that you don't need to be into prog rock. You don't need to love King's X. You don't need to know how to play the bass guitar. You don't need to understand music theory. Doug Pinnick is such a gifted musician. He's an amazing songwriter. Excuse me. I need a drink. But when it comes to music theory, Doug Pinnick is so well versed, not only in the construction of music, how it all works, but he is also able to put it in layman's terms, which I thought he did a fantastic job of on this episode. I loved his breakdown about where the bass's role is in a band, where the drummer's role in a band is, where the guitar belongs, where the singer belongs, where the keyboard belongs. Welcome to Rockville in Florida, Eric says, is another great festival. Exactly. And I told him this in the episode that, he would be a fantastic radio host or podcast host talking about music, because not only is he so well versed, obviously in his own, but the way that he is able to kind of break down other people's music, the music that inspired him growing up, the music that he grew up listening to in his great-grandmother's house, talking about how the band functions as a unit and breaking down how other bands function, the songwriting process. I just thought that he was so interesting and so articulate's not even the right word, because it's not that he's not well spoken. It's that it would be very easy for him to talk over the head of someone like me that is not musically inclined, someone that can't read music, someone that is not a songwriter, that is not an instrumentalist in any way. And so the fact that he was able to talk about these complex ideas of music without making it sound like he was talking down to me and boring other people that may be more well-versed in music. I just loved having him on the show. Ryan says, the Bruins just scored. That's fantastic. So I hope you guys check out this episode if you haven't already. Episode 120 of the Mistress Kerry podcast features Doug Pinnick from King's X, and I cannot wait to have him on the show again. He is awesome. Michael, I am not drinking Dom, but I am drinking champagne because my birthday's coming up, so I'm celebrating. A couple weeks ago, it was episode 200. I celebrated with some champagne. I'm doing it again tonight because the big birthday's coming up. Jonathan says, you always have great questions. That was actually a compliment from him that I was taken aback by, is that he actually complimented me on the questions that I asked him. And that means a lot when the artists, when we're getting ready to finish up the interview, say how much they enjoyed the interview and about how they appreciated the different types and styles of questions that I asked him. And I thought that was really cool that he paid me that compliment. And it meant a lot coming from someone like him who has been in the industry for so long. And like he said, does so many interviews, but that people just ask the same questions over and over again. And I try really hard when I'm prepping interviews to not ask the same questions over and over again. But there are those signature questions that I obviously, if you listen every week to the podcast, that I want to find out the answers to as well. I always ask the songwriting questions. I always ask the questions about the music they grew up listening to and the influence of the music that they were exposed to, because it helped to form the musician and the songwriters that they are now. So that brings me to episode 121, which is something a little bit different. Episode 121 of the Mistress Kerry podcast features a very old friend of mine, Edsel Dope from the band Dope. Now, Edsel and I go way back, and we actually go back to the beginning of our friendship. He brought up a story, and I'm not going to give it away. You're going to have to listen to the episode. This is a long episode, by the way, because we rehashed a lot of old stories. He brought up the story about how he and I originally met when he came to the AAF studio the first time. I didn't even remember the story that he brought up. And when he told me the first question I ever asked him on the air, I was like, I did that. And then I was like, yeah, I did ask him that question. And it made me feel kind of bad that I did, because you got to hear it. I want him to be the one to tell you, because you can hear the shock and surprise in my voice, because I was like, wait, what? So Edsel, even if you're not into the heavier side of rock and metal, if you're not into industrial music, if you're not a fan of the band Dope, part of the reason why I wanted to have Edsel on the show is because he transcends his own band. Edsel and I have been friends for a really long time. And one of the reasons that we have stayed friends all these years, and the reason that we became so close so early on in both of our respective careers, is that we have very similar personality types, which we discuss at length in this episode. And we have very similar work ethics. And Edsel is like a Renaissance man. He is a songwriter. He's the singer in a band. He's a guitar player. He is a sound engineer. He's a producer. He's been producing music for Static X. A lot of the music that they had on the Static X vault that had Wayne Static's voice that they were able to produce after he passed away, he produces that. He's a Pro Tools engineer, which is something he got into very early on. He is a video director. He writes the treatments for music videos, not only for his own bands, but for other bands. He is a video editor. He is also the COO and co-founder of a company called Echo Studios. And we talk at length about his company as well, because it completely transcends his music career. Echo Studios is a company that takes super, super detailed 3D scans of people and amasses massive amounts of data that can be used for a lot of different purposes. Video games, special effects in films, development of the metaverse. We got into all of this kind of technology stuff when he was telling me about Echo Studios. We laughed about the fact that when I saw him, this picture came from the Rob Zombie show at the Xfinity Center, a couple months ago. One of the first things we did was show each other photos of our spouses and kids, which is not something we ever would have done in the late 90s, nor could we have imagined all these years later that we would be doing, still being friends, that we both would have such beautiful families and successful careers. And so every once in a while on the Mistress Kerry podcast, you get a long episode that you might have to listen to in sections. This is one of those episodes. It's like 2.5 hours long. Edsel and I talk about literally everything. We talked about how different the music business is now versus then when we started. We talked about the role of the internet and social media. We talked about the role that takes on the youth and also newer artists. We talked about the role of record companies then and now. We talked about how he was able to kind of get his first record deal, get signed, and get the band out on the road and successful. And then what it was like to lose his record deal and become an independent artist and to become successful in that respect, and to lay down the blueprint that other bands can now follow to become independent artists themselves. God, we talked about so much stuff This is a really interesting episode, and not just because Edsel and I have been friends for so long, but because he is a fascinating person that is just driven, that is always looking for a new challenge, that is always looking to stretch himself. He's always looking to learn a new skill. And if you are somebody that is maybe getting ready to start your own business or starting, your own kind of project, changing careers, if you're thinking about doing something like that, Edsel Dope is a great guy to listen to because it'll motivate you, because he gives tips regardless of the industry that you work in about what it takes to be successful, what it takes to build a successful team. He's just a great guy. He's one of my oldest friends in music. There is a new Dope album coming out in 2023. And the new video for the new single just came out today. It's called No Regrets. And Dope is going out on the road with Static X, Fear Factory, Black Raven, Mushroom Head, and they're coming to Big Night Live in March. That tour was supposed to happen, I think, last year and is rescheduled because of COVID. But the show is going to be at Big Night Live coming up in March. You can get the details on the event calendar. And super interesting guy, and I think you guys are going to love this episode. So episode 121 featuring my longtime friend. I basically have to read his fucking resume just to introduce him. Singer, guitar player, keyboard player, songwriter, frontman, producer, engineer, editor, all-around Renaissance man. Edsel Dope is my guest this week on the podcast. And if you listen to the weekly episodes that come out every Wednesday, make sure you're subscribing and following the podcast. So not only do you get notified when the bonus episodes come out, but you also find out the sit rep comes out every morning, every weekday, Monday through Friday. Although later this week I am taking a break because I'm going to be traveling. That's the only time the sit rep doesn't happen because I need to be somewhere where I can produce it. And Vegas celebrating my birthday does not meet that criteria. But the sit rep comes out every weekday and it runs down all of your rock news, music headlines, entertainment updates in about 5 minutes or so. And you get it on the podcast. And so the sit rep is just another reason why you want to check out the podcast, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And it's literally everywhere. It doesn't matter where you listen to your podcasts. You can find it everywhere. If you're not technologically savvy and you just want to go to mistresskerry.com, all the episodes are there too. And then you can just click play on the player of whatever episode you click on, and you can listen that way too. So I made it super easy for people that don't listen to podcasts all that often. I've had a lot of people reach out and say, your podcast is the first one I ever listened to, which is amazing. And so this is just some of the places. Sorry. Jonathan said, you mentioned last week in the episode that tours were being canceled because of the tour bus shortage. Any specific bands? The one that comes off the top of my head is Cold, who had released a reunion tour to celebrate the anniversary of 13 Ways to Bleed on stage. The band got back together. They announced a reunion tour, and literally the same week the tickets went on sale, including a tour stop in Boston, they canceled the tour because their tour bus fell through and there were no other tour buses or drivers. And they had to cancel their tour. So that's the first example that comes off the top of my head. But there are a lot of bands that have put off touring the rest of this year and are scheduling tours into next year because either they couldn't get anything but like Monday or Tuesday nights at venues because the venues are just booked, or there are tour bus shortages, crew shortages, because crew members come off one tour and join another tour. And there are so many tours out on the road right now that it's making things super complicated. So if you're going to go looking for the Mistress Kerry podcast, just search Mistress Kerry. When you see this icon, you know you're in the right place. And the Mistress Kerry podcast is growing every week, 130 countries. And once again, the top 5 countries have maintained the same order. The United States is number 1. Canada is number 2. The UK is number 3. Russia is number 4. And Singapore, rounding out the top 5 countries listening to the Mistress Kerry podcast. But it is growing every week. And as soon as we add country 131, I will let you guys know. All right. A bunch of music headlines I want to get through with you guys. I don't want to keep you too late tonight because I still haven't fucking packed for my trip to Vegas. The Trinity of Terror tour is going out with Ice Nine Kills, Motionless in White, and Black Veil Brides with Atreyu. That date is coming up November 17th at the Tsongas Center at UMass Lowell. The Red Hot Chili Peppers made a massive announcement on Friday. We know that their second album of the year is coming out October 14th. It's called Return of the Dream Canteen, but there's a song on it called Eddie that was written about Eddie Van Halen and dedicated to Eddie Van Halen. And according to Anthony Kiedis, they were already writing and recording music in the studio when they got the word that Eddie Van Halen had passed away. And Flea showed up to the recording session with this kind of melancholic bass line. And they built a song around Flea's song idea. And the lyrics are even all about Eddie Van Halen as well. So that song is called Eddie. You can stream the song right now, but the new album comes out October 14th. Want to remind you about Record Store Day because the Red Hot Chili Peppers announced that they are doing a limited edition gold vinyl version of Return of the Dream Canteen. Record Store Day is Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, obviously. And Record Store Day, if you've never participated before, is the way that artists support independent, locally owned record stores by releasing limited edition releases, vinyl, reissues, collectibles that you can only get at independent record stores. They're not things you can get at Walmart or on Amazon or at Target or places like that you got to go to brick and mortar record stores. Some independent record stores sell their stuff through their own stores online, but Record Store Day is always amazing. And the Chili's are just one of many bands that are taking part in Record Store Day this year. The Dropkick Murphys tickets for their big St. Patrick's Day stand in Boston are now on sale. They're doing 2 shows, March 17th and 18th at the all-new MGM Music Hall at Fenway. And then March 19th, they're going to go across Lansdowne Street and play a smaller club show at the House of Blues. And all of those tickets went on sale already. And Dropkick Murphys have new music coming out on Friday. I'll run down all the new releases coming up in a few minutes. Alice in Chains, Breaking Benjamin, and Bush, they're going to be at the Xfinity Center. This is the last date of the tour. They're out on the road right now. The last date of the tour is October 8th. The night before, Bush releases their new album. So you definitely don't want to miss that show if you can get the tickets. Joe Satriani is going to be at the Orpheum on November 5th. The new Godsmack song is called Surrender. It comes out, I believe, at midnight. And I believe we're also going to get details on the upcoming new album, when we're going to get it, which we know is going to be in 2023. We just don't know exactly when. And like I said, one of the things I'm going to do when I'm in Vegas is hear a preview of the new album. And so I will have a full report next week here in the War Room. Disturbed announced at the end of last week that their new album is coming out November 18th. It's called Divisive, and there is a special duet cameo appearance. Dan Donegan from the band had come out and said there's a big surprise on the record, and no, it is not another cover song. This time around, the band decided to invite Ann Wilson from Heart to do a duet on an original Disturbed song on the record, and I cannot wait to hear this. Absolutely 100% cannot wait to hear this. So the new Disturbed album comes out on November 18th. It's called Divisive. AWOL Nation, that show at the House of Blues coming up on October 23rd. Judas Priest is going to be in Boston at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway on October 16th. Queensryche on that bill. And Richie Faulkner from the band came out and said they've recorded the drums, they've recorded the bass, they've recorded the guitars for the upcoming new Judas Priest album. And basically, it's Rob Halford's vocals that are left. Judas Priest is out on the road, and then they're getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My assumption would be when the tour is over that Rob Halford's going to go into the studio, cut all his vocal tracks. So if I were a betting man, I would say we're going to get a new Judas Priest record next year. Dio, Dreamers Never Die, the officially authorized documentary, is in theaters starting tomorrow. It's only going to be in theaters for 2 days, tomorrow and on Sunday. Wendy Dio also came out this week because she donated a lot of memorabilia to Stranger Things. And a fan asked her in an interview about the documentary if she still had a lot of Dio memorabilia. She answered by saying she has been saving a lot of really precious Dio memorabilia because they are developing a Dio museum that they are going to put on Hollywood Boulevard and the Sunset Strip, which is unbelievable. So really cool piece of trivia coming about Dio, that there is a Dio museum in the works, and you can go online. The documentary has its own website and be able to buy the tickets, but this is only going to be in theaters for 2 days, and then I believe it's going to go on streaming and on-demand services. The Munsters came out on Netflix today. The Munsters, the full-length feature film that Rob Zombie directed and wrote, is now out. He originally wanted to do it in black and white. He was told no, so it's in very campy Technicolor, very bright colors. It's very campy like the original with all the crazy sound effects and stuff. I have not watched it yet. I cannot wait to watch it, and super excited about it. So if you haven't seen it yet, it is out today. Giovanni Yanez, who joined us on episode 116, I believe, of the Mistress Kerry podcast. Giovanni and the Hired Guns released a new song today called Overrated. And Giovanni announced the release of the song by being hungover and putting up video on TikTok and on Instagram Reels of him throwing up because he was so hungover. And I retweeted it. If you haven't seen it yet, it's hilarious. Excuse me. Jonathan, 400 was the low end for what? I missed something on there. Let's see. Mark wants to know if I saw the new Rob Halford commercial. I have not, but I do want to see it because I heard about it. So I do want to check that out. All right. So if you haven't checked out the new Giovanni and the Hired Guns, it's called Overrated. It's really, really good. I told you guys to keep an eye out for this band. I think they're going to do amazing things. This is just the start, but the new song is out and I think it's great. All right. Continuing on with the music news, Jeff Beck is going to be at the MGM Music Hall coming up next week on October 6th. Those tickets are on sale right now. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra Tour has been announced. All of the tickets for the entire tour are on sale. Somebody was just commenting on Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They're going to be at the Mohegan Sun Arena November 23rd, the SNHU Arena in Manchester on the 25th, and the DCU Center in Worcester on the 26th. Each one of these dates has a matinee and a night performance. All of the dates for all of these shows, all of the concerts, you just go to mistresskerry.com, go to the event calendar. All the details are right there. All right, new releases this week. There is some great new music coming out this week. Like I was alluding to earlier, the Dropkick Murphys' new album, This Machine. Oh, it's supposed to be this. That's a typo. Social. If you're new to the war room, you got a drink. This Machine Still Kills Fascists is the name of the new Dropkick Murphys album. Let me fix that. Drowning Pool have their new album, Strike a Nerve, coming out on Friday. Sammy Hagar's new album, Sammy Hagar and the Circle, Crazy Times, is coming out on Friday. And one of the most highly anticipated albums of the year, The End So Far. This is Slipknot's last album with Roadrunner Records. And really excited to hear this. So, new Slipknot, just in time for my favorite time of the year. I'm going to say that the band's releasing it as a birthday gift to me. But it's coming out on Friday, which I'm super excited about. All right. Added an event to my event calendar. So there's going to be a couple of chances for you guys to come and hang out with me. This Battle of the Bands is happening on October 6th. It is going to be at Polar Park. It's 4 hours of music, 5 bands, all the details, the link to buy tickets, everything you need to know is on the event calendar. And Mike Shue's going to be there. I believe Chuck Perks is going to be there. I'm going to be there. So it's everybody from the Pike at Polar Park, home of the Woo Sox. And I'm really looking forward to this. So the Battle of the Band coming up October 6th. And this just got announced. This is happening, hold on Sunday, October 9th. This is going to be at the VFW Post 7272 in Bellingham. It is a barbecue smoke-off. It is a charity event. Tickets are $20, and they asked me to come down and be one of the guest judges, and I said absolutely 100%. So if you are in or around the greater Bellingham area, I am going to be at VFW Post 7272 on October 9th in the afternoon, being a guest judge for their barbecue smoke-off, and that also has been added to the event calendar at mistresskerry.com. All right, mail call. Got this amazing birthday card in the mail. Beatles birthday card. How freaking cool is that? It says, "Hey MC, can't believe how hard it was to find a Beatles birthday card. I couldn't even find one that played the birthday song. They must have crazy licensing fees. Hope you have a great birthday. Have you ever been to the duck store in Chatham? You would go broke. I got you this Beatles duck. They are the unifying life force. My wife's 50th is October 3rd, so I hope we can celebrate together sometime soon. Here's to 50 more years of Cocktails in the War Room." To Brett and Sherry Feldman, thank you guys so much. First of all, happy early birthday, Sherry. Brett, thank you for thinking of me. No, I have not been to the duck store in Chatham, but check this shit out. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hot Tub Band. What? Bringing two of my favorite things together, rubber duckies from my rubber ducky themed bathroom and my love of the Fab Four from Liverpool, the Beatles. Freaking hilarious. I love it. It's amazing. So good. Thank you so much. I love it. So awesome. I want to thank everybody that's been. Oh, did you say it was mail call? Are we opening things? Because someone decided, hey, I would like to return to the couch hidden amongst the pillows. She had left and was gone out of the room, but she heard me kibitzing about with a cardboard box and thought, maybe there'll be something in there for me. No, you got your presents last week, like this right here. Right? You got that. You got this. Because you're spoiled. She knows. She knows it's Tuesday. She knows what time. Oh, thank you, Brett. I wasn't sure if you were here or not. Just need the walrus goo goo gachoo. Yeah, exactly. Guys, did you see her put her freaking head on that pillow? I'm just going to ignore her so she'll do it again. I can't. I can't handle it. I simply cannot. This fucking dog. Goodbye, pillows, says Eric. Zero interest in the pumpkin. Not right now. She's kind of sleepy, and she just, I'm telling you, ever since things really escalated with my mom, she has been by my side. Like, it kills me now to leave because I know that she is still dealing with having my mom not around all the time. And so she is so clingy with me. which is why I let her come down to MCHQ and hang out with me for a little while, because I'm hoping that the more I let her do it, that she'll behave. And then she can come down and nap on the couch while I'm working if she's not snoring and making noise, so that she can be with me more, because she just wants to be with me all the time. Cuteness overlord, said Tracy. So adorable, says Jonathan. So ducking cute, says Marcy. She is well loved. Michelle, she is totally well loved. Yeah, exactly. So she's going to have a house sitter and a babysitter while I'm in Vegas, and she will be snuggled with. Yeah, pug snoring. Exactly. I can't. All right. Let's see. Want to remind you guys about Mistress Kerry merch, especially when we're talking about Record Store Day. This is a perfect example of a locally owned brick and mortar record store. They've got 2 locations in Northampton and in downtown Worcester. Joe's Albums, it's literally right on the same block as the Palladium and right around the corner from the DCU Center. And their website is amazing. You can buy the vinyl right off their website. Their entire inventory is on the website. It'll tell you what store things are located at, but Joe's Albums is awesome. And they also have Mistress Kerry merchandise. And I want to make sure you guys know that the cold weather is coming. The hoodies are a perfect way to keep warm. One other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about, speaking of hoodies, I am definitely going to see Uncle Froggy when I'm in Vegas. You'll remember Uncle Froggy. I think he was episode 14 of the Mistress Kerry podcast. Vietnam veteran, uncle of mine, Purple Heart recipient. And I haven't seen him in 15 years. We talk, but I haven't seen him. Obviously, I had him on the podcast. And he cannot wait to meet my husband. He's taking my husband and I out for lunch on my birthday. And so I'm bringing him a bunch of Mistress Kerry merch because he's been asking me to send him some, and I've been a slack ass niece. And one of the things that he wanted was one of the hoodies. And so Uncle Froggy, I'm going to get pictures of us together, but he really wanted a Mistress Kerry hoodie. And so I'm bringing it. Bish just said the Bruins win in OT. Yes. Michael Cole wants to know, am I going to have merch at Polar Park on the 6th? I don't know the answer to that question. Usually, in order for me to be able to sell merch at events, it depends on the venue, and it's something that needs to get worked out ahead of time. So I don't know if I'm going to have merch there or not. If you definitely want to know you're going to get what you want, order it off the website, because everything that's on the website is in stock and ships really, really quickly. Yeah, I'm super excited about Uncle Froggy, that I'm going to see him in Vegas. Really excited. All right. Birthday toasts. So if you're celebrating your birthday today on September 27th, you share your birthday with Avril Lavigne, Lil Wayne, Brad Arnold, Meatloaf, Stephen Jenkins from Third Eye Blind, and Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive. Also, it was on this date in 1986 that we lost Cliff Burton from Metallica, which is kind of crazy. So I wanted to make sure we were cheersing to Cliff. If you're a heavy metal fan, what can you say about Cliff Burton? He, one of the most prolific bass players in all of heavy metal, taken far too soon. Jason Newsted and Robert Trujillo have had big shoes to fill and have done amazing jobs in their own right. But to Cliff, and to everybody celebrating birthdays today, happy birthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith and Sherry. Happy birthday. Because I won't be able to cheers your birthday until after it's over in the war room next week. And guys, I'm going to cheers my own birthday. It's a big birthday this year. The last decade, I had this conversation with someone earlier today. I've had some amazing, wonderful, unbelievable experiences in the last 10 years. So many things that I am just so grateful for. there have been a lot of really hard things too. I have lost so many friends, family members, parent, my job, my motorcycle accident, a marriage, a pregnancy, had facial reconstruction twice. There has been so much that has happened. Obviously, in the not so distant past, my mom's illness, the pandemic. I'm kind of looking forward to this decade being over for me, hitting this milestone birthday this weekend and starting a new decade positive and hopeful, with an amazing guy by my side, with the world coming out of a pandemic, with a new business and new opportunities on the radio, a new family here in the war room. I am not dreading this birthday as I have dreaded big birthdays in the past. So cheers to you guys. Cheers to new beginnings. Cheers to birthdays. And one more thing before I drink. A lot of people, and this is something that I talk about in the episode this week with Edsel Dope, I have found an appreciation for growing old. And it's because I've lost so many people too soon. The gift of being able to age is in fact a gift. The wrinkles are a gift. The gray hair is a gift. It's all a gift because we all know people that never had the chance to be old. And so if you're getting old, you're lucky. So cheers to getting old. All right. If you have a Mistress Kerry backstage pass, there's going to be a lot of travel updates. I was going to schedule our private live stream that we do every month last weekend. But after the war room last week, I got sick for a few days, and you could hear it in the sit reps. I was not feeling great. It's why I didn't make it to Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets tour on Thursday night. Got tested for COVID. It wasn't COVID. I think it's just the seasonal change cold that I got for a few days. That is why I didn't schedule the live stream this past weekend, because I was recovering and I slept a lot. However, I want to be able to give people with backstage passes a lot of inside information on a lot of stuff that's going on with Vegas. So we're going to do the live stream when I get back. But I'm also going to keep you guys up to date while I'm away in Vegas. So if you have a backstage pass, one of the things you get is travel blog updates, exclusive pictures, blog posts, keeping you guys informed as to exactly what's going on. And I can't wait. So you also can submit podcast interview questions. You get early access to event tickets. And you also get exclusive concert ticket giveaways. Right now, you have access to Alice in Chains, Breaking Benjamin, and Bush tickets. And you also have access to I Prevail tickets. They are up for grabs. If you have a backstage pass, you know how to ask for those tickets. And I always do everything that I can to hook as many people up with free concert tickets as I can. So if you don't have a backstage pass, you can get one at mistresskerry.com. You can just look me up on Patreon at Mistress Kerry. There's a backstage pass button right there on the website. Here's all the ways you can keep track of me. I am going to be updating social while I'm in Vegas. It's just that people with backstage passes always get bonus content. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Cameo, YouTube. It's all right there. You guys know the deal. Donna wants to know if I got my skeleton set up yet. Yes. His name is Fezzik. The 12-foot skeleton my sister gave me for my birthday has been set up as part of my Halloween display. He is amazing. More pictures are on the way for sure. Betty says, my granddaughter has a cough, not sure the cause. A lot of people are just getting seasonal colds. Take a home test, get tested for COVID just in case. But yeah, it's just the seasonal thing. It sucks. Betty says, thank you so much again for the hailstorm tickets. Yeah, I want you guys to be able to go out and enjoy as many shows as you can. Backstage pass holders get a lot of access to concert tickets, but when I can get extra tickets, I always bring them into the war room so you guys can get hooked up as well. So, all right, guys, listen, I have to fucking pack. So thank you guys for all of the love and support over the years. Thank you guys for being amazing. Big birthday coming up this weekend. She's awake. So, super excited to bring back all of the stories. Cheers one more time. I want to finish off my glass of bubbly with you guys before I get out of here. Super excited for my trip. I love Vegas. Maximum number of days, 5 days. That's my rule about Vegas. Anything more than that, there's no guarantee I'll survive. Plus, I got to get home to the Nugget. So, cheers, guys. Episode 121 of the Mistress Kerry podcast features Edsel Dope from Dope. It goes live at midnight, and I will see you guys next week for episode 203 of Cocktails in the War Room. All right, bye, guys.